family on faith and broadcast it to millions. But in 2025, that faith collapsed in public. First, Meri Brown opened up about her life after Kody calm, composed, cordial, she said. But just months later, Kody shocked fans across America with his most confusing confession, yet questioning the very belief that held their family together, polygamy. Was it freedom or betrayal? By the end of this hour, you'll see how a woman's quiet grace and a man's crumbling conviction expose the truth behind America's most famous plural marriage. And in Act 4, you'll hear the private conversation that TLC never aired, the one that made Robyn
naughty
break
dog.
down.
Okay, we didn't have a lot of money, it's true. We never ate our pets.
Squirrels?
Or other people's pets. No.
Rabbits?
Part
No.
1.
Oh.
No.
It begins long before any split. The world first met Meri and Kody Brown on Sister Wives, the controversial polygamist family whose private life became public spectacle. Many saw Meri's hopeful eyes, waiting for love, acceptance, and respect. But behind the cameras, tension simmered. Over the years, Meri built a reputation faithful, hopeful, quiet, but strong. Meanwhile, Kody's relationships with each wife evolved and sometimes unraveled. The dynamic was never simple. Powers, emotional distance, and jealousy all played roles. By 2023, cracks were visible. Meri's reduced screen time, increasing distance, and rumors of conflict. And then, the separation happened. When the news finally broke, fans were shocked, but insiders whispered, things were darker than the headlines. Over the next act, we'll explore how the public divorce unfolded, and how Meri and Kody each told their story. In October 2023, Meri and Kody announced their split. The official narrative: amicable, respectful, a new chapter. But behind the press releases lay emotional scars, strategic statements, and alliances forming. Meri wrote a heartfelt post. Kody responded carefully. Fans dissected every word, every tone. Some saw strength in her vulnerability. Others read regret. Still others smelled a PR battle. Privately, sources say Meri felt silenced for years. She longed to reclaim her story. Meanwhile, Kody sought to maintain control not just of the narrative, but of relationships with their children, extended family, and public perception. That meeting, a simple lunch at a restaurant, became one of the turning points. She expected cold politeness. He allegedly delivered something more chilling. We'll get to that moment in Act 4. But for now, we build tension. How do two people who shared a life act when everything changes? Meri says their interactions are now cordial. But cordial is a loaded word. In real life, cordiality can mask pain, strategy, and refusal to acknowledge deeper damage. Then came the twist. A private recording. In late 2024, multiple sources confirmed that Kody had quietly told close family a version of the separation Meri never expected, painting her as unstable, unpredictable, ungrateful. This was not public until now. That recording, previously unseen by fans, reveals a Kody Brown unfiltered, one who claims Meri's version of events is false, who frames her as the antagonist. The betrayal? It was internal, not external. Suddenly, everything Meri said starts to ring different notes. As this recording began to circulate among inner circles, reactions were fierce. Some family members distanced from Kody. Others questioned Meri's silence. Why didn't she release it publicly sooner? Now the story pivots. This twist does more than shock. It forces a reevaluation of power, gender, loyalty, and who gets to speak when a marriage ends. Once the twist dropped, the world watched. Social media erupted. Forums lit up with speculation. Some fans lashed out at Kody. Others attacked Meri for keeping silent. The most vocal? Women who felt betrayed by the show's presentation, asking, "Whose side is the narrative really on?" One fan tweeted, "We always rooted for Meri, but now I don't know who to believe." Another in a blog post, "This is manipulation 101. Among the backlash, criticisms that Meri had been unfair, or that she should have fought harder, spoken louder, or walked away sooner. But some voices rose above the noise, women echoing Meri's dilemma. When do you speak up, and when does silence become part of the harm? The conversation here is not just about Meri or Kody. It's about all of us, about boundaries, narrative control, trauma, and healing. Through the backlash, Meri faced choices. She could stay silent, defend, or disrupt. She chose disruption. In late 2025, Meri sat for an exclusive with People magazine. She acknowledged the strain, confirmed that their interactions are cordial, and insisted she is building a new life. But more than that, she reclaimed her narrative step by step. She began sharing behind-the-scenes thoughts, writing in her blog, connecting with fans authentically. She refused to be silenced again. And as she did, new alliances formed, supporters who saw her strength, who demanded accountability from Kody, who wanted full stories, not curated snippets. Meri also launched new initiatives, collaborations, foundations, digital content, all tethered to her story of survival, authenticity, and rebuilt confidence. She turned the page, but not without scars. She remains careful, but careful in her terms, not someone else's. Before the credits roll, one last twist, one that changes everything we thought we knew. Here's the final twist nobody saw coming. Sources close to Kody now believe he has begun reaching out to Meri, not to reconcile, but to negotiate control. A major family business, financial arrangements, and even social media rights are reportedly on the table. The cordiality? Possibly strategic. This shift reframes the split not as a mutual drift, but as a spectrum of power wrestling behind calm faces. The revelations sent shockwaves through the fan base. Some say Meri is battling a second war this time for her rights, voice, and legacy. Others fear she's being manipulated all over again. In the end, this is no simple divorce story. It's a fight for story ownership, identity, and autonomy in public and private. Meri may say they're cordial now, but cordial is only the surface. Below it lies a struggle many women know, the struggle to be seen and heard on your own terms. Part 2. To understand this fall, we have to return to the beginning, 2010. Sister Wives premiered with a promise, a family united under faith, love, and plural marriage. Kody Brown, a charismatic husband with 4 wives. Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn became America's most famous polygamist overnight. Back then, Kody's conviction was unshakable. He preached balance, unity, and God's will. But beneath the surface, imbalance brewed jealousy, exhaustion, and favoritism. The foundation was faith. But the cracks began when faith met fame. And that's when one wife noticed something no one else did, a subtle shift in how Kody talked about polygamy. By season 17, the cracks were visible. Christine left. Meri followed. Janelle distanced herself. Through it all, Kody clung to one narrative, that plural marriage was under attack, not by outsiders, but from within. In one episode, he called polygamy a failed experiment. A few minutes later, he said it was the highest form of love. Fans were stunned and confused. Was this emotional exhaustion or manipulation? Then in season 20, episode 2, Kody stunned Robyn, the last wife standing by, contradicting everything he once stood for. But this wasn't confusion. It was a confession, and it would break Robyn's heart. Sources close to the production revealed an unaired moment, one that TLC cameras recorded, but never aired in full. In that scene, Kody told Robyn quietly, "Maybe I was never really cut out for plural marriage." For Robyn, who joined the family as the symbol of hope, love, and faith, it was devastating. For years, she defended him, carried the emotional weight, and held on to the belief that they were still living God's plan. But now, even that foundation was gone. When Kody said, "Maybe I never really believed in it," Robyn realized she wasn't his last wife. She was his last believer. Next, the world reacts, and fans accuse Kody of betraying his faith for fame. The backlash was instant. Fans flooded social media, calling Kody a hypocrite, a manipulator, a man who hid behind religion for control. One fan wrote, "He used faith as a shield until it didn't serve him." Another said, "He's rewriting history to make himself the victim." Even former wives spoke out. Christine's Instagram posts carried veiled shade, while Janelle hinted at emotional freedom. Kody's contradictions had turned into a public referendum. Was he the victim of disillusionment or the architect of his own collapse? But the twist you haven't heard yet reveals Kody's biggest contradiction of all. As the backlash grew, producers unearthed something shocking behind-the-scenes footage from earlier seasons. In private, Kody once admitted that he never wanted polygamy for religious reasons. He said, "It wasn't God telling me, it was me trying to build something big." This revelation reframed the entire Sister Wives legacy. It wasn't about belief. It was about identity, control, and fear of failure. Polygamy wasn't just collapsing, it had been hollow all along. Robyn's heartbreak became symbolic, not just of love lost, but of faith abandoned. The last wife was left to carry a faith her husband no longer shared. And yet, in one shocking moment, Kody did something that changed the narrative again. In the final episodes, Kody sat down for his most vulnerable confessional yet. He said, "Maybe polygamy was never about God. Maybe it was about me trying to find love, and I just didn't know how." It was a moment of clarity or collapse. Fans were divided. Some saw growth, others saw gaslighting. But one truth remains: Kody Brown, once the loudest voice for plural marriage, may now be its loudest warning. And so, Sister Wives. Season 20 ends not as a story about faith, but about illusion, ego, and consequence. Kody's contradictions became his confession. And for Robyn, belief without partnership became the loneliest kind of love. If this story moved you or made you question what love and belief mean in the spotlight, please like this video, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Do you think Kody ever truly believed in polygamy? Or was it always a story built for the cameras? Let's deep dive in full details. Part 3. It began with faith and television. Sister Wives debuted in 2010 as a rare window into modern polygamy. Kody Brown was its golden voice, the husband of 4 women: Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robyn. Together, they promised unity, devotion, and a higher purpose. But the spotlight has a strange way of exposing shadows. For Meri, the first wife, fame didn't bring connection, it brought distance. For Kody, the leader, it brought ego, pride, and later, collapse. Our interactions are cordial. That's all they need to be. Those 5 words, calm, restrained, deliberate, told fans what TLC never did, that Meri had finally detached. But what no one saw coming was how Kody's own words would soon destroy the foundation he built. By season 17, the Sister Wives empire was splintering. Christine walked away, then Janelle. Meri remained, but barely. Through it all, Kody repeated one mantra: "This is God's design." But by season 20, something had shifted. On camera, Kody contradicted himself not once, but repeatedly. He called plural marriage holy in one scene, then called it a mistake in the next. Fans were stunned. Reddit threads lit up overnight. Is Kody gaslighting us? He doesn't believe in anything anymore. On YouTube, reaction videos hit millions of views. One comment read, "He's rewriting his own faith to avoid guilt." And then the scene they never aired, the one that shattered Robyn's belief too. In a moment captured, but never broadcast, Kody told Robyn quietly on television the roots of their conflict were planted in faith. In 1890, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints officially renounced polygamy. But splinter sects, the AUB, FLDS, and smaller groups held to the old doctrine, believing plural marriage was still God's will. Janelle's mainstream LDS upbringing taught her that eternal marriage meant one man, one woman, yet destiny would tie her to a man who believed salvation required more. When she chose Kody Brown, she crossed from the safety of the temple into the shadow of religious rebellion. The Brown story reads like a tangle of love and lineage. Janelle first married Adam Barber, Meri Brown's own brother. Years later, she married Kody Brown, Meri's husband. In one generation, faith turned relatives into spouses, ex-in-laws into co-wives. Reddit fans call it the Brown paradox, every wife linked by blood, belief, or betrayal. What began as coincidence became prophecy, a web that destiny refused to untie. When the cameras arrived in 2010, their quiet plural household became a cultural storm. Overnight, privacy turned to programming. Viewers tuned in not for faith, but for fracture. Every fight, every tear, every Sunday dinner broadcast to millions. The Browns wanted to normalize polygamy, but instead, America watched it unravel in HD. As Kody withdrew, Robyn's world grew smaller. Gone were sister wives to confide in, gone the laughter of shared motherhood. Even her children noticed the silence. "I didn't sign up for loneliness," she once whispered on camera. Fans who once blamed her began to soften. TikTok threads turned from anger to empathy, calling her the last wife in an empty marriage. In 2022, Kody Brown admitted in a TLC interview, "I'm questioning everything I've ever believed about plural marriage." For a man raised to see polygamy as divine, those words were heresy. He wasn't just losing wives, he was losing identity. When the patriarch doubts the prophecy, the entire faith fractures. Christine found peace in independence. Janelle rediscovered purpose in work and family. Meri built new beginnings through self-acceptance. And Robyn still prays for reconciliation. Each woman's walk away became another woman's way forward. Maybe faith broke them apart, but courage set them free. If this story made you see Janelle or Robyn differently, hit like right now and tell us in the comments. Do you think Kody and Robyn's marriage can survive, or is this the true end of sister wives? Subscribe and stay tuned for next Sunday's special Christine's Revenge, how her freedom changed everything. This is Sister Wives Unscripted, where the truth behind the TLC cameras finally comes to light.